All right, today we're going to go over our trend journal and then we'll go over some trades we have and some trades that we've gone into and then some possible trend shifts that we can look into. 1 second. Oh, I had to get a drink of water. But forewarning, I do have one of my daughters is home sick. So if you can hear her in the background, let me know. And I have my headset ready to go so I can block them off a little better and make it so we can hear just us. So let me know if I have to do that, and I will. So to get started, just since the last week, we're pretty much gone nowhere. The market has been sideways for the whole last few weeks. We're having a few distribution days. CPI was as expected, actually a little hot. And so we did have a little hot CPI last week, which brought us down a bit. And then we're seeing some downside reversals within the last couple days. On Monday and Tuesday, both we've seen like a downside reversal. Or Friday and Monday. Today's Tuesday. And then today, actually, we had a phenomenal upside reversal, which we gapped down and then we closed at the highs of the day. So that's an upside reversal. That's a day to note. And I haven't looked at the volume, the closing volume of QQQ, so we'll look at that as well to see how the volume was. And so we're going to go ahead and get straight into that. So as of right now, we're on day 50 of our trends. This is the longest trend we've had in a long time. We went over that last week. We're about 195 days ish, 97 days now into the trend. And so we're just still chugging along. We have not CPI, we have FOMC tomorrow. That's going to be a super important thing where if Powell kind of says, like, hey, we're not going to cut rates anymore. We're probably done. Inflation is still out of hand. We can't control it. We could see a further downside, and we could see the market kind of pull back off of that. If he says, okay, yes, we're continuing to cut rates, we're probably going to continue to move to the upside. And so that's at 1 p.m. tomorrow is the Fed rate decision. 1:30 tomorrow Eastern time is the FOMC press conference. So those are the two times to look at. Usually you'll see a small move at 1 o'clock, and then the larger move will be closer towards the 1:30. And so I do want to real quick check out the leaders of the day just so I can put that in my journal. So you have XHB, which is home builders, steel, and oil looks to be like the leaders today. And then FANG, but that's a 3X. But and oil, steel, and home builders. Weird. So that's how I do that. Oil, steel, home builders. So how I check which ones I think are the leaders versus the laggers is I just go to the top and bottom, which ETF had the worst days and which ETFs had the best days. So like you had GDX, gold, super lagger today, did bad. Uranium, lagger. So a lot of metals were kind of lagging besides that one steel. That's kind of interesting. Metals. What else was lagging? We had MJ, cannabis. They just had a huge move, so it's expected. FXI. Everything kind of had an inside day, so nothing really was too much lagging. So then to go over what we want to look at today. So seasonality wise, we still are in kind of that end of April or end of March going into April where we could start seeing a pullback. As I said earlier, last week we haven't quite seen a huge like, oh, this is going to be a pullback. We haven't still haven't seen too many signs. We're still above pretty much all our moving averages, but we are starting to see if, let me get rid of all of this. We're above a 30-day. We're below a 10-day. That's the one thing is we did not get above the 10-day, but I mean, we've been below the 10-day multiple times. You do see, this is where I look at a lot, the volume spikes over since pretty much since January 19th. A lot of those, you're seeing the more to the sell side as well. So that's something to note. Downside reversal, volume spike. Downside reversal, volume spike. Those are things to note. And so nothing saying that we're going to go like we're going to fully continue down yet, but little things that I'm looking at that, okay, let's see what's going to happen with this. We do have, I mentioned this as well when we go to US 100, the 4 hour chart here, we are riding this 200 EMA. So let me get rid of some of these other moving averages. Boom. So this 200 EMA, and I posted this in stock chat today. Was really interesting to me. If we go back, we've been above the 200 EMA since November here. Right here, this is November. We've been above this. And how many times have we touched it? One, two, three, four, five. This is our fifth time touching it. Look at every single time we touch it and every single time how far we go. So this we went, it was 10% to the upside and it was over roughly 64 days. This next time we bounced from it. It was 7% from the upside and it was 44 days. And now we bounced again and we're only 2% from the upside in 22 days. And then again today, which was pretty much break even, with 4 days. So as you tap a level over and over and over, it tends to get weaker and weaker. And so this is one thing that I'm looking for. And it wouldn't surprise me if we popped tomorrow. There was a lot of really nice charts today that closed towards the highs. Qs closed towards the highs. So it wouldn't surprise me if we popped tomorrow off of some news just to shake out any early shorts. But it is kind of looking a little more weak. The volume today was higher than yesterday's, so that is an accumulation day. But not on the QQQ, which is very interesting. So that means the overnight volume was really heavy. Let's look at SPY's volume. Very, very low. Not even close to as much as yesterday's. And then DIA. Very good. Accumulation day on diamonds. And just a decent day on IWM. IWM's been the lagger, but this still looks fine. So we're starting to see some small signs of cracks, but no signs that we're not gonna continue to bounce. I mean, I honestly think over the next I think tomorrow we will probably bounce. If you look at a 4 hour, we bounced hard off of this 200 EMA on this last time. They bounce here, bounce here. If we get above this 128, we're probably coming towards these highs. Next level would be 168, 22, 240, 244, and 370. So 18, 370, just the ends. So this still looks, it still kind of looks distributive, just kind of based off of this, how the pattern is, but it could definitely, like, there's a little trend line here. If it breaks that, it'll probably continue to run. So there's definitely some signs that, like, there's a lot of upside reversals today that looked decent. So tomorrow we could definitely see a move, but it's all on PAL. The TA won't matter too much. Next is DXY. So DXY is back pretty much at this zone that I was watching. We called out pretty much the top right around here, and now it's coming back to this zone. So again, this is kind of in a shit spot. And I was mentioning this earlier to somebody, I think in stock chat. We're right at the 200 EMA on the daily right here. We're pretty much right underneath the 200 EMA on the weekly right here. So this is just a terrible zone to be in where we're just going to be in a range bound market, which for a lot of people is fun to trade, but this isn't great trading conditions in my opinion. It's not how I kind of like to do things. But if you go down to the 4 hour, you're still I mean, you're above the 4-hour 200 EMA, but you're breaking above and below it so much that it's mids, but it's starting to curl up. Used it as support here, came back up. So if we come back and use this as support, I would look to come back up to these highs. Is there a fair value gap over here that hasn't been tapped? No, no, no. No fair value gaps there at all. No imbalances here in this whole area that have not been tapped. So that would make me look for these highs. Yeah, we took out all this liquidity. If we go higher, we'll want to take out these highs right here. This 104. That would be pretty fairly easy. But this is just trash right now. UJ had a wonderful upside reversal yesterday, though. Last night, and is had an insane day today. Took out these highs, bounced right at the pretty much right at the 200 EMA. I was looking for to see if we get rejected from this 200 EMA since we got below it. It was like the first time we had been below it in a long time since January. And so it's like the first time below it, we got below it and broke below it really hard, but then we bounced and just never got back, never got rejected from it. So there was not a sign to short. There was not really any, there wasn't any level for it. So it was like, there was one candle here and then it got no continuation. So there was no short here. I was lucky that that we didn't even bother trying. But I do think now, like, we had this upside reversal, the weekly looks fairly decent. So there's not a lot, like, that was a good pullback here and could just be coming for these highs again. I think we should be above all our moving averages. Boom, above your 10. Yeah, above all your moving averages. Hopefully, like, if we could form a fair value gap tomorrow and have like an inside day, which we probably won't because it's Powell. Um, we could definitely, this could be a good continuation trade or like a pullback. See, I've put an anchored view up to here, and that's from this downside reversal pump, and then or this upside reversal pump. And so then if we come back to this anchored view up and bounce off of it, that could be a really good trade too. But I don't think there's a short here. I think this continues to the upside. Looking for imbalances, there doesn't leave a lot. Really, the main one I see is this. There's one right here, but I don't think this is going to matter too much. This one right here, I don't think this is going to make too much of a difference because it'll be during Asian session. So I don't think it'll really respect it. I'm looking for a spot to get back in though. I think UJ's a long for this for the rest of the week. Unless Powell says something and this just completely dies off of it and engulfs yesterday's whole move, this is probably going to continue it for long. So I'm looking for spots for UJ. Euro's getting really tight. This thing's going to move here soon. Within the next couple months. And this is kind of how I was, if we could get strength, if we could get pullbacks, that would be a bullish market would be bullish for the euro. And so that would make us run and probably break out from this 200 EMA to come up to this high right here. Because we're seeing you're coming in, you're contracting in this volatility. Now the swings are getting smaller and smaller. Again, same thing. Below your 200 EMA on one, above your 200 EMA on the other, though. It's not the greatest. The rest of the moving averages are just kind of converging and going back and forth. You respected this bullish order flow right here. So we'll see how that plays out. We kind of already took a low low, came right into this order block here. Yeah, if we form a swing low tomorrow, this could definitely continue higher. I would say above, let me get rid of some of these. If we get strong push back above these highs, we'll at least come back to, we'll minimum come back to this level right here. So we could do something like this. Get above here would be key. This 4-hour high. Get a push down. Ideally, we'd hold above this low right here. And then minimum just to here is a 3R. And then would be looking probably somewhere around here. So that could be a good, decent little trade on Euro. All kind of depending on how Powell says tomorrow. GBP was very similar too. But I like this. I like kind of where this is and how it broke the structure a little more than Euro. Like Euro didn't really break any highs. See right here? It broke this high, which was nice because this is a high that created this low. Now pullbacks are meant to be bought. So this is our bias flip here. Really, this is the bias flip because this created this low and this created this low. But see, Young. Yeah, so we're looking for longs here, and then we got these highs as the targets too. For swings, these would be the high targets. And so that's another look for UJ as well, or for Euro. And it's weird that I'm liking these Euro charts, but also think UJ looks decent as well. So that's kind of a divergence on its own. Come on, you fuck. All right, hold on, my trading view just froze. Okay, come on now. Fucking shut off again. I should have had that recording and I fucking didn't. Should have recorded that whole thing that I was saying. But what I meant with GU, I just went over it and forgot to record it, so I'm gonna re-go over it. We have this nice resistance kind of zone all through here that we broke out, took those highs, and then now we're in an imbalance that took those highs. So looking for this to hold here. On a daily chart, we have an upside reversal today. So literally, if you just get in wherever right here, use today's lows, and then you're targeting this next set of highs right here for a swing trade, that would be a 5R. No full sign yet. I would like to get, for me, I look more in a shorter time frame, so I'm looking for this 4-hour. This is dope. We're actually in a 4-hour fair value gap right here inside this other fair value gap. We're in a 4-hour fair value gap inside this weekly fair value gap right here. So that gives me a lot more confidence if we pivot here and start showing some signs to get to the upside. I like how we took out this low, came right back up, essentially engulfed this displacement candle here. I'd like to hold this 4-hour fair value gap plus the anchored VWAP from this low candle here from the upside reversal. And that would give you a trade where you could just get in here. Your first target would be this high for just like a day trade. And then your next target would be these next highs here. And so then you're just targeting piece by piece by piece and able to play like that way for day trades. And so that's probably going to be more of what I'm doing. I'm going to be looking more on a 15-minute. I'm going to wait till it gets into this level here and then I'll come back out. Someone knocked. It's Josie. Can you go get it for him? And so next, quickly, I do have an appointment. IWM. This one actually has a great upside reversal today. We're right at the 50-day moving average. So if we could kind of have a base of a couple days, then we'll look to continue higher. We did get a lack of displacement kind of above this high. So I would like to see a stronger move above this specific high right here from December. Next, CCL. CCL is one that we had profits in. We had 50% profits. And so this is kind of one thing that I noticed for this specific month. I should have taken profits quicker and been willing to trim quicker instead of trying to hold for bigger moves. And so that's definitely one thing where that was on me, and that's something to learn from. And so notice here we have a trending line here, and that's just continuing with ascending highs that are getting rejected, rejected, rejected. And then you can say the same thing similar to a wedge pattern. Oh, it did it again. Opal, knock it off. And so then knock it off. You can see this wedge pattern here. And so then I started noticing that. And so once it hit that break even, I got out right away. Excuse my annoying dog. Next, Roblox. We're looking for it to hold this 200 EMA, and it just kind of gapped down below it. Now the contracts are pretty much worthless, so -1R. Just it's more bet. It's actually a little better now. The risk to reward is might as well just hold it to 0, and that's what I'm gonna do. Uber, we took a small loss on. Actually, that was back to 1R. This hit our TP1, didn't give us pretty much any profits in the options, came back down, and then we got out. I think I went over this last week. Next, Halliburton. This was a wonderful trade that I still like. We are in. We are barely up. I think we have about 10% profits in these Mays. A little bit of somewhat of a double bottom, so we'll go out the furthest right here. Ascending highs. Boom, boom, boom. So in a long term, so let's see, this is a very long term. You have lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. This is the low that made the lowest point. This is our COVID low. Boom, we took out that high, we took out that low, and started making lower highs. We barely undercut it, created this trend line. Came back out, shipped this structure, created a new equal high. Came back down, held this same spot, and then created an equal high. Came back to that same trend line, and now we're bouncing off that trend line, confirming the bounce in my opinion. We have a bullish engulfing here, a small little base, and then a continuation higher, and almost like a double bottom. And so we're able to, so we go back to this daily chart here. Boom, kind of double bottom, inverse head and shoulders style. Broke the pivot of this midpoint here today on pretty good volume, higher volume than yesterday's. We have all your moving averages curling up and towards this way. Hi, Isabella. And so now our target is just going to be coming up to back to these highs in uh back to these highs at 43. And so those are a few of the those are the trades that we're in. Opal, please hush. And so I do want to go over oil and kind of what I'm looking for with oil. I am looking at this one thing that could create it to where it's not going to be as strong as people think, and that's this demand or this supply zone right here. We've been rejected, 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 broke above, held it, broke back down below, and now we're coming right back up to it for the first time since April 2023. So if we do get rejected from this zone again and we start forming a downside reversal, very similar to this DXY chart, it's literally the exact same pattern. Fuck. Come on now. And my internet's being mids again. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, and that's exactly kind of how I think. If the market goes down, then crude's gonna fly through that demand zone. If the market goes up, then it's gonna continue. It's gonna get rejected. There it is. So there's DXY. See the same style of demand zone just right here. And then with US oil, you have the same thing. And you can use the CL charts, US oil charts. It don't fucking matter which ones you use. And so the same style right here. We'll blast through it and we'll come to these highs. 95. If we blast through this high, this level, we're coming to 95. It's very, very simple. She can go up there. Yeah. And so then a few upside reversals that I'm looking at today that look very good is DKNG, ELF, PANW, CrowdStrike, and Frog. I'm not really, my charts aren't working the best. There they are. So this is DraftKings, super easy, just a flat base, bull flag, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's been sideways since February. The volume looks phenomenal. It's got its 10-week moving average just coming right up to it. Dried up volume, strong volume on the move up, just clean, exactly what you want to see. Frog, pretty much the exact same thing. I really like this one. Hasn't had hardly any move to the downside with what we've had within the last few days. It's just been kind of sideways in this little bull flag as well. Come on, you bastards. Okay. And can you guys still hear me? I don't know why trading views are being so fucking lame today. There it goes. This modem. If this just keeps doing that, I'll just post the charts in chart chat and yeah, and I'll just put a recap of what charts they are. I'll just post them in the recordings page. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and fuck around with this. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna have to cut it early. Yeah, you can't even hear me now.